Welcome back, and it's lovely to be catching up with Laura Hill again, who is performing in a fantastic play called Eros, which is on at the Forge at the Court Theatre. Hello, Laura.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Now, first of all, what have you been doing since we last caught up when you were at the court? Caught up at the court?
Caught up at the court. I've been doing a lot of writing, actually.
Oh, good.
So I had not a lot of acting in between, but been doing...
So, writing plays or...?
No, writing TV things. I write scripts for Shortland Street, and I've been doing some storylining for Shortland Street and Go Girls as well.
Fantastic. Yeah. Two wonderful shows as well. Yeah. That must be so good going back to write for Shortland Street now.
Well, I've been doing that for a few years now. Yeah, I started before I left. I started writing for the show before I left as an actor, which is great. It's something I can do from wherever I am in the country, and you know, you still have a little bit of power over the characters. So,
do you get to write Toni back in?
Do you know what? When I was on the story table, I said, no, let's not do that.
Toni's gone.
She's gone.
Survive. Now, you're here at the moment at the Forge Theatre, part of the Court Theatre, with a play called Eros. So, the name itself, fabulous, all about love, isn't it?
It is, in the end, yeah. It's about a group of people who, I guess, struggling with the dilemmas of relationships in all its different forms. It's kind of looks at polyamory.
That's how you pronounce that?
Yes.
Right.
Polyamory. And now I'll have to explain it, because everyone goes, polyamory, what's that? It's having multiple relationships, basically. It's different to swinging. Swinging is basically sex-based kind of thing, whereas the idea of polyamory is that you have multiple sort of emotional relationships. So it might be a trio of people, it might be, you know, up to sort of 5 people, it might be a really big group of people, and within that you'll have loving and caring relationships with multiple people.
Who knew? You learned something new here today on Good Living.
Apparently there is a Christchurch community of, you know, it's quite big. Christchurch. We had some polyamorists come along to the show on Monday night.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we had a forum afterwards, and they sort of had a couple of comments and stuff. And
yeah, so you learned a few things from them, learned on the job. You play a nanotechnologist. So, again, please describe it. What is that?
Well, I haven't done a vast amount of research into that because it's an enormous kind of field, I think. But nanotechnology basically is tiny, 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 tiny little things. It's working on things at a minuscule level. One of my lines, which gives you kind of a gauge, is that a nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. A human hair is 100,000 nanometers thick.
Oh my goodness.
So that kind of gives you an idea of the scale, but it's just so hard to grasp, you know.
So I would imagine it would be interesting playing a nanotechnologist who, I imagine, very, you know, scientific based, to going into something like this kind of relationship where it's all emotional. Yeah, well that was a real kind of the challenge for me when I sort of started the play. I was like, how, you know, the scientific mind is often very sort of analytical and structured and all that kind of thing, and you tend to think of, you know, polyamory as all very free and easy and kind of, you know, this hippie-esque kind of, you know, just whatever, go with the flow kind of thing. So what happens in the play is it's probably not true polyamory. There's a slightly more focus on sort of the sexual aspect rather than, in some ways, the polyamorists who came along said it wasn't true polyamory, and I have to agree with them. It's slightly different to the sort of the true interpretation. So I thought, well, for a scientist then, the idea that she could compartmentalise her life and say, I'm very busy, I travel a lot, then I have sex with a guy who's not some complete random at a bar, and then I go travelling again, and then it would sort of make sense to her to have it that structured. So that was kind of how I got around that kind of little challenge of her just being very organised about things. Yeah,
so,
this is what it is. This is how it works.
Yeah.
So tell me, for our viewers, is there any kind of nudity or anything in the play that we need to be aware of?
Nothing that would scare the horses.
Good.
There is a little bit of skin, but it's for comedy purposes only. And I defy you, when you see it, not to laugh.
There you go, watch out for it.
Yeah, I have to bite my lip every night.
So any kind of awkward moments, I mean, when you're in a play like this, which is dealing with love and sexual relationships and things like that, as an actress, does that kind of thing get easier?
It's always weird playing intimate relationships with someone you wouldn't normally do that with, who's not your partner, or someone you wouldn't normally be attracted to or whatever. That's always weird. It doesn't get less weird. Every now and then you just kind of, you know, I have to kiss someone, pull back and go, I have a strange job.
Yeah. You just kind of have an out-of-body experience with that, and just go like, it's not me, it's the character. And,
you do. You sort of, I call it the bubble. You go into the bubble, and when you're in the bubble, that's when you're the character, and you don't have to ask permission if you want to put your hand on their thigh or whatever, because that's, you know, you're in a relationship and that's what characters do. And then, you know, you come out of the bubble and shake hands and go and have a beer and whatever. But it's like, you know, when you're working with, you know, other experienced actors, which this cast has got, you know, fantastic actors in it, so you don't have to sort of go through all those baby steps. You just kind of, you all understand about the bubble and you just go into it.
And do the actions change? Like, is it like every night is hand here, kiss, la la, or does it sometimes a little bit of improv going on?
There's a bit of improv, yeah, particularly in a comedy as well, which the show is. It's nice to be able to, you know, have a little play around, and one of our actors in particular, he likes to sort of throw little things in every night, so we'll be backstage about to come on or on stage and just having to sort of, you know, keep that character mask on. But no, which is one of the fun things about it. This sort of show kind of grows and changes, and little bits kind of, yeah,
that's great,
get added in.
And the Forge is such a great venue for it as well, because it's intimate, isn't it? So, which goes well with an intimate play.
Yeah. I mean, again, nothing to startle the audience, but they'll feel like they're, you know, on this awkward journey with these characters.
And that's very close to them.
Yeah, but as I said, nothing to startle people. But it is that, you know, such a basic thing of comedy, that you put people in a situation they're uncomfortable with, and then push them and push them and push them and see what happens. And that's what this is about, basically.
And what are you learning from director Yvonne Martin?
Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She was been so wonderful with us in this. She's so experienced, and it's a new play, so we had to do, you know, a bit more work on it in sort of rehearsal period than you do within a play that's been sort of performed before. And she was just gold. She just helped us through that and made it all so easy, and was in dialogue with the writer the whole way through, and just a delight.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And have you worked with some of the other cast members before? And it's good to see Ali Harper back, and
yes,
you know, John
Phelan.
Well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I've worked with John before as a director. He directed the first play I did down here at the Forge, Babylon Heights, which is in 2007. Toby Leach, who is very, very funny. He and I used to go to school together.
No way.
Up in Warkworth, north of Auckland, and we did a TV show. I did a couple of episodes of a TV show that he was sort of a star on about 10 years ago or something, and now we're working together again. So it's kind of crazy how you run into people again.
Isn't it funny how that happens? So once this finishes at the Forge, what now until the end of the year?
More writing.
Good.
I think, and then just sort of hustling and getting things in place for next year.
Yeah.
You know, jobbing actor, then sort of putting their hand up and saying I'm available for work. So
good stuff.
Yeah, back to that.
Well, lovely to see you again, Laura. Thank you so much for popping in.
Thank
because
you.
I know it's always a busy schedule when you're performing every night. So make sure that you do book your tickets. So this is Eros, and it's on at the Forge, which is part of the Court Theatre. Wonderful production, and tickets are available. But do get in quick, because it's one of those plays. A lot of word of mouth works really well with these kinds of productions. So Court Theatre, for bookings, the phone number there is 03963 0870, and of course their website as well. For any further details is courttheatre.org.nz.